So this is going to be a video covering the First Lite layering system, more specifically the First Lite White-Tail system. I have a bunch of White-Tail specific items out here that I'm going to be covering. I've used this all fall. In the Midwest, I hunted from October all the way until December, and I got hundreds of hours in the deer stand this fall. I was able to hunt almost all year long, and I've been very blessed to do that. So I got a use out of all these layers. And if we're in the Midwest this past fall, you know that specifically Veterans Day weekend, we had 65, 70 degrees on that Friday, and then it got into like below freezing, single digits cold come that Monday. So I got use out of all these layers within the season multiple times. So I'm going to cover we're going to go from like warmest into as you get into colder temperatures, and I'll just cover pieces that I wore throughout there. So first off is the 308 White-Tail pant. So the 308 pant are really good pants. You can wear those hot, warm weather and layer them into colder weather. But the White-Tail specific pants have some different pockets cut in different sewn. That way when you're sitting in a deer stand, you have access to your pockets, and they're really nice. That being said, my favorite pant from them is their corrugate foundry pant. These are the working man's pants. These pants have been used and abused, ran hard, put away wet, and they have been fantastic. These are hands down my favorite pants. What got me in the First Lite was these pants specifically. They make a 32, 35. I think they may have updated their sizes again this year, but I'm tall and lean. I'm 6'2", 210, and you know, I got long dancer legs. If I had to put a number onto my size, it's like a 31, 35 and a half. Nobody makes them sizes. So getting something that fits well, that's close, is kind of what led me in the First Lite, and that's why I got these pants. And then additionally, I think that their Spectre camo is the best camouflage out there. It blends in very well into the green leafy forest. It does very well in brown pine straw and tan desert arid environments. As the leaves fall, we got that gray kind of hardwoods. It blends in fantastic. So I think this is the best camo out there, and that's what kind of kept me into this line. But what I'll go over these pieces again. Sorry for getting sidetracked, but so we're going for the early season October time frame. So I got my 308 pant, and then I have their Yuma synthetic hoodie. This is a fantastic like sun shirt style. It's super lightweight. It's very, very comfortable. It's a great hoodie. So I'll have these pants, that hoodie, and then their trace hat. This is an awesome hat, especially for when it's hot and in the heat. I'm a firm believer in wearing camouflage, especially as tree stand hunters. Man, we're like sitting in a deer stand and we got deer filing by all day long, and I think camouflage is a benefit. Now, have I had deer right on top of me using solids? Absolutely. But I just think that if we have the option for camouflage, why not use it? So I'll have my 308 pants, my Yuma synthetic hoodie, my trace hat, and then I have this is their Wick Arrow Wool Ultralight 150 Merino Wool face mask. I'll have that stuff on, and that's like my early season hot weather setup. Alright. So then as soon as it starts getting cooler out, now we're talking that, you know, mid to late October to when the weather starts, it's 45 or 50 degrees in the morning, still is going to warm up. What I'll do is typically I'll run their Kiln Merino Wool 250 weight leggings, and these are some of the best leggings that I've worn. I'm a firm believer that having something tight to your skin and then layering on top it'll make you feel warmer. You know, having something tight to your skin, tucked in your shirt, your tops, whatever, it kind of keeps that heat a little bit better. So now we're talking mid to late October. I'll have the 250 weight wool leggings, then the 308 pant, and then I'll use a merino wool. This is their 250 weight Kiln hoodie, and I'll put that on instead of the trace, or instead of the Yuma shirt. and then I'll use this is their White-Tail Catalyst jacket. So some of these items, like some other items, have been discontinued. These are some older items. They have replaced some of the things I mentioned with like their core, their phase, and their thermic series. But if you look on their website, they have recommended temperature usage for all these. So, but this is the White-Tail Catalyst jacket, and I love this jacket. This is one of the better jackets I have for just fighting off light breeze and moderate cold weather, a little bit of precipitation. This jacket's going to do great. All right, so that is my late October kind of layering system. Now, some of those days to where it's, I like layers a lot, so I'll have my pack to where I'll walk in to where I have just the hoodie on, carrying my pack, my bow, and everything else. I'm moving to my stand. And then when I get there, and once I get into my stand, I immediately get into the layer appropriate for that morning. Because I don't want to be getting dressed or moving around to add an extra layer, because I'm a firm believer that if you're comfortable, your situation awareness is going to increase. If you're sitting there and you're super cold or super hot, your ability to pay attention and focus on what you're doing and scanning and hunting is going to be degraded. So I would rather get up in the stand, put my layers on, and get settled in, and then sit throughout the morning with the appropriate layering system. So that's where the First Lite Navigator hoodie comes in. This is one of the newer products from this, I think this spring or maybe last fall, but this is an awesome, awesome hoodie. And I'll put that on, and then I'll put my jacket on, and then that's going to get me through those 50-degree mornings into lunchtime, and it's a fantastic hoodie. So that's kind of like my my 50-degree, moderate rut hunting. And then what I'll typically do as it gets colder is I'll maintain this system, and I'll add in another one of my favorite pieces from First Lite, and these are their Uncompadre puff pants. These pants, I get so much use out of these pants, not just when I'm hunting, just out and about, to where I could have on normal pants like this, and then I need to step outside or do whatever, I just pull these out, zip them on, and now I got a appropriate warming layer. They're very, very warm, very, very comfortable, and they zip on and off very simple. So if I'm sitting up in a deer stand and I find myself getting cold, I'll pull these pants out. I always have these pants in my pack. I'll pull these pants out and zip them on over, and now my legs are completely warm. Also, the Brooks down hoodie or jacket is another great additional warming layer. So what they did is, when they first came out with their White-Tail system, on the sleeves, like I have the Solitude series and the Catalyst, the sleeves are compressed. And I understand why they were doing that, because they wanted this to be streamlined for archery hunting and whitetail hunting to where it's not bulky. But the issue that I ran into that is I can't layer other specific items that I want to layer because it's so tight and constricting. That's where the Brooks down comes in very well when I start layering some of the heavier stuff, or even the Catalyst jacket. Is it's not as compressive, because this compresses very well and still has a warming layer. It doesn't compress super tight. Like if you added on some other items that aren't going to compress down, man, you feel super restricted. So now we're talking that that it's could be cold, could be hot. I want layers on and off. Time frame to where it's about 30 degrees, anywhere from 30 to 45 degrees. Is all these items are still the same, and then I layer in my Navigator hoodie, my Brooks down sweater or jacket, and my Uncompadre pants. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. It's pretty hard to say, but my down pants, and then that's gonna like layer me and keep me warm. Now I have the ability to, I'm leaving my deer stand or I'm tracking a deer or whatever, I can shed layers very, very quickly and still be in the appropriate layer. With that, I have their beanie. This is a 150 weight Aerolite wool beanie, and then should the wind be cutting pretty hard, I have their thermic face mask as well. So that's everything that I primarily used, probably 85–90% of the season. As far as socks, these are their late season, like thick, I want to say over the counter tall, thick wool socks. And these, with my crispy boots, I was completely warm throughout most of the day, and I had no issues with keeping my toes warm. Alright, so then now let's plan for days to where it's starting super cold and it's going to remain super cold. And I'm talking like it's going to be below freezing all day in the single digits. It's not going to get any higher or lower, and we'll talk in some other pieces that I have. So I'll still maintain my this system here as I move in, but once I get there, that's why I like I have the First Lite transfer pack, and it's like a bucket design. So I'll be able to pull these out once I get to my stand and put them on, and then climb in my stand, and then I'm set and ready to go. But I have these are the Solitude bibs and the Solitude jacket, okay? These are obviously a heavier layer made for those colder days and colder temperatures. And if I know I'm getting into that, I'll put those on. Again, this jacket has got the super compressed arms, and that's why I like the down jacket to be able to fit in there. Now, as far as sizing, I'll tell you what sizes I use and what fits me. I am 6'2" and about 210 pounds. If I had to pick a size, I'm like a 32 waist and like a 35 leg, and typically I wear like a extra large jacket and stuff. So everything I have out here is XL, and it fits me just fine. And then on the bibs, I have the large, and on the jacket I have the large. Probably could have went with an XL, but the large seems to fit just fine, and it does all right for me. Now, on days when there's precipitation in the forecast, I have their rain pants, because when you're just sitting there and that rain's just pouring on you, having your legs covered is beneficial, and it keeps you in the stand longer. So this rain jacket, can't remember exactly which model I have. I'll look here. So this is the Vapor jacket, and this is the Boundary pants. As far as sizes, this is a large Boundary pant size, and this is a XL Vapor jacket size. And what I like about these is they fit over all this system very well. Like, I haven't put them over top of this system, but because typically if it's below freezing, it's snowing, so I'm not as concerned with precipitation. But when it's at 40 degrees, 45 degrees and raining, these fit over this system very well and keep me completely warm. As far as just a utility jacket, whether I'm out hanging stands or I shot a deer and I'm going out to recover it, and it's just like the working man's jacket. This is I can't remember the name of this one either. I want to say this is the Chalice fleece, if I remember correctly. This is a large size, and this is just a great working man's fleece. It does state that it has wind-breaking properties, and it kind of does, but not near as good as what I kind of expected. So I'll still layer this system with some systems below it to keep me warm. But this is also just a great jacket for, like I said, if you're out hanging deer stands, climbing up trees, cutting through brush, that's a great working man's jacket. As far as keep my hands warm, I'm a big proponent for wearing just like a light wool glove. That way I have dexterity, and this is their thermic hand warmer, and I'll throw hot hands in here and keep that around my waist. And whether if it's 60 degrees or 0 degrees, I have this on me. My ability to just keep my hands still and also warm. Put my phone in here, and it's got a zipper here. I'll put my phone in here. I'll put extra batteries for stuff I may or may not want, or anything like that, calls, grab tubes, whatever, and that way it's quick access and easy to get to. So that's the system that I used, and it's worked very well for me. And what I can say is, when you're doing your layering system, there's something to be said of be comfortably cold. If you're just like super hot, you're prone to sweat, and if I just walked into my deer set completely layered up, we're wearing all these bibs and stuff, I'm gonna get sweaty, I'm gonna get like super hot, and then as the temperature drops throughout the morning or into the evening, I'm gonna start getting cold. I think I did like 6 or 7 all-day sits this year. That's anywhere from 10 to 12 hours depending on time of year in the deer stand, and having these systems available in my pack so I can layer as needed has kept me in the deer stand 100%. But that's everything that I used, and what I would say is when you're getting your system figured out, the principles are to have a layer that's close to your skin. I prefer merino wool. The 250 weight has been pretty good for me. So that's my leggings and my kiln hoodie, and then have a layer over top. If it's kind of warmer out, that mid-fall, that's just a pant layer and then a jacket. And as it gets colder, then you can put on another additional warming layer like the puff pants or puff jacket, and then your other heavier systems. But having that layer to shed and add as needed has been beneficial. So I've been really impressed with these pieces of kit and these items of clothing, and they kept me in the deer stand. And as I said, I had a bunch of hours this year, and all of it worked very, very well.